1.7 times, significantly lower than the S&P 500 average of 25 times forward PE estimates. Our board of directors, as significant shareholders ourselves of 25 believes the current valuation of SMLR Scientific, our board of directors, is disconnected from the company's underlying performance and its intrinsic value. It is clear to us that our stock is absurdly undervalued. We are committed to unlocking value for all SMLR stockholders and are actively exploring accretive opportunities to do so. As I noted earlier, I strongly believe that SMLR Scientific offers investors a differentiated business model among Bitcoin treasury companies. Our top priority is to provide stockholders with amplified exposure to Bitcoin using intelligent leverage. With nearly $600 million of Bitcoin holdings and only $100 million of convertible debt that doesn't mature until August of 2030, we believe we have ample room to take on more leverage, amplify stockholder returns, and we are actively exploring a wide range of financing options. They got this thing set up so weird, it took Not only are we the sixth largest Bitcoin treasury company in the U.S., but we also operate a healthcare business with 80-plus employees that has the potential to generate free cash flow that will enable us to purchase Bitcoin in a very accretive way. In 2024, we achieved record cash generation of $24 million in our healthcare business. While our business has faced headwinds this year, we believe we are on the cusp of launching several new products in markets that are much larger than our current PAD market. These new businesses will be housed in a subsidiary called Cardiovanta. We may seek capital for Cardiovanta from outside investors to validate its long-term value and fund its relatively modest capital needs. We strongly believe that our healthcare business has substantial optionality and that its outsized potential upside is not reflected in our market valuation. We are extremely pleased with the value we have created by our consistent accretive accumulation of Bitcoin. Since adopting the Bitcoin standard just over a year ago, we strategically and assertively acquired 5,021 Bitcoin, now valued at approximately $586 million, with a cost basis of $476 million, resulting in an unrealized gain of $110 million. So far, in 2025, we have acquired 2,723 Bitcoin and generated a BTC yield of 31%. This resulted in BTC gain of 719 Bitcoin and a BTC dollar gain of $84 million as of July 31st. Since adopting the Bitcoin standard in May 2024, we have achieved a 300% positive Bitcoin yield. This has resulted in BTC gain of 1,747 Bitcoin and a BTC dollar gain of $195 million through July 31st, 2025.
Going up a bit, going up.
We remain confident in our long-term goals for accumulating Bitcoin. We are targeting 10,000 Bitcoin by year-end 2025, 42,000 by year-end 2026, and 105,000 by year-end 2027. We are exploring a wide range of options to meet our Bitcoin targets. Historically, to buy Bitcoin, we've used operating cash flow from our healthcare business, monetized a portion of one of our healthcare investments, and issued convertible bonds and accretively issued common stock through our ATM offerings. In our recent proxy filing, we included two proposals, Proposals 3 and 4, on the agenda for our upcoming annual meeting on September 5th. These proposals are vital to our strategic direction, as they provide the financial flexibility to raise capital efficiently and to pursue our long-term Bitcoin acquisition strategy. This includes enabling access to a broader range of capital instruments, such as preferred equity. We strongly encourage stockholders to vote for all proposals outlined in the proxy statement. Our Bitcoin strategy has significantly expanded our investor base. We now have more than 32,000 stockholders, up from approximately 11,000 in 2023. We're honored by your support and enjoyed meeting many of you at BT BTC 2025 in Vegas and BTC Prague in June. In closing, thank you for joining us today. Your continued support means a great deal.
That's my chairman, baby.
Now I'll turn the call over to Joe, our Director of Bitcoin Strategy.
That's my chairman.
Thank you, Eric. I'm going to discuss Bitcoin, our Bitcoin strategy, and how SMLR Scientific is positioned to amplify Bitcoin's future returns.
Come on.
But first, it's important to understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin and why it has historically delivered such a remarkable compound annual growth rate and outperformed traditional asset classes. Bitcoin is the first form of money with these monetary properties: absolute scarcity, portability, durability, divisibility, and fungibility. In contrast, the US dollar has experienced consistent inflation. Over the past 50 years, the supply of US dollars measured by M2 money supply has grown at an average annual rate of roughly 8%. My thesis has always been money is being debased.
That's a power move.
As a result, nearly all smart investors are relentlessly buying a diversified portfolio of financial assets, often regardless of valuation, because they know that holding cash over any meaningful period of time is a losing proposition. This creates a perpetual bid under asset classes like real estate, stocks, bonds, and gold. Not necessarily because they're undervalued, but because people feel uncomfortable holding dollars. In this way, a monetary premium has been embedded into these asset classes. They're bid up beyond what their fundamentals might otherwise justify, simply because investors are looking for somewhere to store wealth. The Bitcoin thesis flips that dynamic. Instead of the US dollar growing at 8% per year, Bitcoin's supply is growing at less than 1% annually today, and over time, that number will trend towards zero. So to summarize my thesis in 5 simple points: 1, the money is broken. 2, people save in real estate, stocks, and fixed income. 3, Bitcoin is good money. 4, the monetary premium from other assets is getting siphoned into Bitcoin. And 5, we believe there is a possibility that Bitcoin could ultimately become a $300 trillion asset. Now, on top of the bullish case for Bitcoin, here's the key institutional reality. Many institutions can't buy Bitcoin directly. Approximately 97% of institutional capital, a $95 trillion market, is restricted by mandate to owning only equities and credit. In other words, they can't own Bitcoin the commodity or Bitcoin ETFs. They, in essence, are forced to own Bitcoin proxies like Bitcoin treasury stocks should they want exposure to Bitcoin as an asset class. This represents a huge opportunity for SMLR Scientific. Our shares are already owned by several of the most highly regarded institutional investors and funds. In addition, brokerage houses and sell-side research firms are launching coverage of our company.
Come on.
In July, Cantor Fitzgerald, Benchmark Equity Research, and Maxim Group all initiated research on SMLR Scientific with buy ratings. Now, of course, Bitcoin holders can buy and self-custody Bitcoin themselves. That's a great strategy. Every Bitcoin holder should own some spot Bitcoin directly. But BTC equity, public companies like SMLR Scientific, are uncommon. Through our status as a public Bitcoin treasury company, we can amplify Bitcoin exposure through intelligent leverage that public companies can access. Specifically, we can issue low interest, long duration debt, like our outstanding convertible note, to acquire additional Bitcoin. And importantly, we're supported by a valuable healthcare business that has enabled us to allocate operating profits into more Bitcoin. So the logic is straightforward. If you expect Bitcoin to outperform fixed income over the long run, and we do, it's rational to borrow in dollars at low interest and long duration to accumulate more Bitcoin. And the results are already showing up. On the Bitcoin Treasuries leaderboard, SMLR Scientific is currently ranked 15th globally among public companies holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. But if you narrow the list to only companies truly operating on a Bitcoin standard, that is companies that actively measure progress with the BTC yield KPI, we believe SMLR ranks 6th in the US. In short, we are already one of the largest public Bitcoin treasuries in the world, and we plan to continue climbing. Our long-term target is to reach 105,000 Bitcoin by year-end 2027. Lastly, I'd like to share that we are launching the SMLR Scientific merch store where you'll be able to purchase hats,
Bro,
shirts,
they got the
jackets and
we've
more.
been wanting.
As of today, the store is officially live at SMLRscientific.com.
It's live?
Now I will turn the call over to Renee Cormier, our Chief Financial Officer.
Pull that shit up right now, baby. Come on.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you everyone for joining us today for our call. I'll cover our second quarter financial results,
We got a merch
Bitcoin
store,
and
baby.
capital markets activity, as well as more details on our plans for our healthcare business. Total revenues in Q2 2025 were $8.2 million, which was down compared to the second quarter of 2024 due to the continued phase-in of the 2024 CMS rate announcement that impacted reimbursement for positive PAD patients, and which is resulting in decreased usage of our device at some of our customers. Operating expenses for Q2 2025, which includes cost of revenues, were $10.3 million, and loss from operations was $1.2 million. Operating expenses in Q2 2025 included $1.9 million in non-cash stock-based compensation expense and $0.5 million of legal expenses related to the DOJ settlement agreement in principle pertaining to a civil investigative demand.
The merch looks fire.
The DOJ settlement process is progressing smoothly and on track. Further details are laid out in our press release and the appendix to our second quarter presentation.
She gets forced to say all the
We
hard
recorded
shit, bro.
a net unrealized gain of $83.8 million from the change in fair value of our Bitcoin holdings during the second quarter, calculated using $170,176 price per Bitcoin. Accounting standards require Bitcoin assets to be measured at fair value, with gains and losses from the changes in fair value to be recognized in net income in each reporting period. While this may introduce volatility into our reported net income, it does not impact our cash flow from operations. For the second quarter 2025, our net income was $66.9 million, or $5.71 per basic share and $5.04 per fully diluted share. Cash, cash equivalents, and restricted cash at June 30th, 2025 was $13.6 million. On to our Bitcoin highlights. We acquired 1,444 Bitcoin in Q2 at a total cost of $149.6 million, or $103,581 per Bitcoin. At June 30th, 2025, we held 4,636 Bitcoin, valued at $496.9 million. Subsequent to quarter end, we acquired 385 Bitcoin at a total cost of $45.8 million, or $119,090 per Bitcoin. As of July 31st, 2025, we held 5,021 Bitcoin with total market value of $586.2 million based on the 4 p.m. Eastern time price per Bitcoin as reported on Coinbase of $116,758. Capital markets activity in Q2 2025 revolved around equity issuances under our ATM offering. In Q2, we issued approximately 4.1 million shares for net proceeds of $156.6 million. Subsequent to quarter end and through July 31st, 2025, we issued approximately 1.1 million shares for net proceeds of $47.8 million. As of July 31st, 2025, we have a little over $300 million remaining in our $500 million ATM. Year to date through July 31st, 2025, we generated a 31.3% Bitcoin yield. This translated into a Bitcoin dollar gain of $84 million. As you know, we maintain a Bitcoin dashboard at ir.semlerscientific.com, where investors are able to go to find our Bitcoin-related statistics in one location. We encourage investors to check back often, as it will track additional Bitcoin purchases as we announce them and provide a real-time snapshot of our market and Bitcoin metrics. In June, we announced the formation of a wholly owned subsidiary, Cardiovanta, to unlock the value of our future healthcare business opportunities focused on early detection of heart failure and cardiac arrhythmia. It will be structured as a high-margin software as a service or SaaS business model, It will seek capital from outside investors to validate its long-term value and fund its relatively modest initial capital needs. The markets for early detection of heart failure and cardiac arrhythmia monitoring are estimated to be in the multi-billion-dollar range and are projected to grow substantially due to rising cardiovascular disease, technology advancements such as artificial intelligence, and the aging population, and increasing adoption of wearable and remote monitoring solutions. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, heart failure affects more than 6 million Americans and costs the U.S. healthcare system more than $30 billion annually. While Cardiovanta will focus on cardiac technology and care systems, Semler Scientific will continue marketing its QuantaFlo device and software for early detection of peripheral artery disease. Now we'll turn it back over to Joe to begin the Q&A.
Great. Thank you, Renee. Our first question is, are you concerned about a potential supply glut of public companies pursuing similar Bitcoin treasury strategies? No, we're not concerned. As I mentioned earlier on the call, we believe Bitcoin is on track to become a multi-$100 trillion market by absorbing monetary premium from traditional asset classes like real estate, equities, and fixed income. Given that outlook, companies operating as Bitcoin treasuries with intelligent leverage, effectively long Bitcoin and short the dollar, are simply positioning themselves to outperform if this thesis proves correct. Rather than viewing them as competition, we see them as peers accelerating Bitcoin adoption and helping monetize the asset globally. In fact, we believe this trend will benefit all early movers. The more credible companies that adopt Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, the faster the monetization process accelerates, and the more valuable our own Bitcoin becomes. Our second question, do you plan to make more regular Bitcoin acquisition announcements? We do not currently plan to make weekly announcements like some other Bitcoin treasury companies. However, we do expect that our Bitcoin acquisition announcements may increase in both regularity and size over time. That said, we may also strategically choose to announce acquisitions with a less frequent cadence. Just because we have not announced an acquisition does not mean we are actively accumulating Bitcoin during the quarter. As we explore additional ways to issue securities and acquire more Bitcoin, the pace of our announcements could naturally accelerate. Our focus remains on executing our strategy in a disciplined, accretive, and stockholder-aligned way. Last, our final third question. How does management think about the MNAV multiple at which Semler trades at relative to its peers? I think there's been confusion about Bitcoin treasury companies because there are actually two different games to play. The first is the fast money game. This occurs when a Bitcoin treasury company trades at a substantial premium to its Bitcoin net asset value, or MNAV. At this level, the company can tap its common equity ATM, issue additional shares, and immediately use the capital to acquire more Bitcoin. This instantly generates a positive BTC yield, increasing Bitcoin holdings per share. That process can repeat rapidly compounding returns, provided the premium to MNAV doesn't collapse. The inherent risk, of course, is the potential compression of this premium. The second strategy is the more sustainable slow money game. This strategy is available to all Bitcoin treasury companies of a certain size, and it even works at 1x MNAV. In this scenario, the company intelligently leverages its balance sheet using fixed income liabilities to enhance its exposure to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin appreciates significantly and the MNAV ratio stays stable at 1x, the leverage amplifies returns. Essentially, as long as Bitcoin's appreciation outpaces the interest cost of the liabilities, the Bitcoin treasury company should logically outperform Bitcoin itself. In my opinion, the presence of this slower, sustainable strategy actually underpins and fuels the faster premium-driven game. The attractiveness of the intelligently leveraged position sets the foundation. Whenever market sentiment for leveraged Bitcoin exposure strengthens, even slightly above 1x MNAV, the premium-driven fast money strategy becomes viable again, allowing for rapid value creation. In short, this slow money game is likely why premiums develop in the first place, offering the best way to amplify the future returns of Bitcoin. Semler's balance sheet currently uses intelligent leverage. This enables the potential for SMLR to amplify the future returns of Bitcoin, and it enables the potential for future MNAV expansion. The only thing better than Bitcoin is more Bitcoin, and the premiums on Bitcoin treasury companies may exist because the market loves more Bitcoin. Thank you everyone for your questions. As we wrap up this conference call, we want to emphasize our ongoing commitment to continued execution of our Bitcoin treasury strategy and our healthcare business. We appreciate your participation in today's discussion, and thank you for your ongoing support. Operator, you can conclude the call.
Fuck you, Joe.
Thank you. The conference call has now concluded.
Fuck
Thank you for attending
Joe.
today's presentation.
God
You may
damn
now
it.
disconnect.
Wow. Now it's over. Just like that. God. Fuck. Alright. Let's rearrange the stream here. We can, go over what the fuck that just was. I'm gonna play a song actually real fast, then we'll come back, and there's a few things I want to touch on that, mainly the end there, unfortunately. Who's that? Is that Pick 6 in the cut?
Dude, yeah, I'm just playing with the soundboard. I'm like figuring this all out. I'm like a 3-year-old hitting buttons.
Yeah, you're on the shit with me.
All right, nice. Here, let me try and get on camera here. Yo.
You're on in the bar. Another ginger? Holy
Yeah, dude.
shit.
Yeah, let the conspiracies fly.
Holy shit, bro. Let's go.
Irish takeover. Although now you max out, you can't have more than 2 gingers. Then it's gonna get weird.
Yeah, we can't have 3.
I'll cycle off if another one needs to come on.
Hold on, I'm gonna just go mute for like 30 seconds and just
Yeah.
play this
Play
song.
your song.
Okay,
Do
and
it.
we'll go over what we just listened to.
Bitch, pass me the rock. Pick my dribble up and pass it to the ops. Caught another triple double on the block. In her mouth like soul food when I'm hot. You ain't big dog, stop. 28s and they sitting in a shop. Got the designation, but we in a lot. It's a situation, hit on with the chop. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. She needs some formula for her little baby. Damn, is this a trap? Fuck, I put her back to the laps. I'm sick of cap. Fuck, big Richard Mill playing in my food. I was 14 playing with the hoops. I've been fucking with your bitch since a jit. I like 'em real disrespectful, super rude.
Alright, folks, and we're back. So, were you listening to that, D, or what?
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say I didn't even hear any song, but I don't know if it's a technical issue. This is my first.
Okay, to hear the song, you'd have to have the stream up. Because in the Discord call, all that you'll have is my mic.
Okay. So it was just pure silence, but it was kind of peaceful.
The stream was playing "Bust Her Up" by Baby Keem.
I don't know what that is, but I can fill in the gaps with my imagination. Wait, so when you say the stream up, this is annoying for people to have to hear this and go through a tech support thing. You mean just like watching the Twitch stream?
Yeah, you can pull it up on Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch.
Oh, okay.
And then I
didn't know that I get like feedback.
Well, yeah, you'll want to mute it unless your mic is muted. If your mic's muted, then you can have it up. Like that's kind of like if we're gonna play music or something, you can just mute your mic and then listen to the stream. That way, you know, kind of like when we're about to cue back in or whatever. But yeah, actually, first, since this is your first stream, I mean, we'll discuss the SMLR earnings call. But do you want to introduce yourself real quick, or this is your introduction to the dive bar?
Yeah, man. Big splash. So Pick Six Capital, world's first Bitcoin sports betting company. I am the chairman, founder, CEO, head of Bitcoin treasury strategy. But everyone just calls me D. So I'm kind of pre-football season here now, figuring out my bankroll. It's all gonna be Bitcoin denominated and pretty much gonna have fun with it and see how much Bitcoin I can earn or maybe lose. We'll see. Just betting sports, predominantly college football. That's kind of my wheelhouse, but I'll occasionally dabble outside here and there. So hoping to in the spirit of a dive bar, bring a little, hopefully some sports, some edge. Although I have to say, it's kind of like Bitcoin, right? People like to tail you when you're hot and fade you when you're not, and that's usually the worst times to kind of do it. So it's like you're either all in and you're gonna just tail from the inception, or just don't do it at all. I actually recommend not doing it all, because the last thing I need is
vitality, though.
That is that is true. But if people tail me, I don't need the added angst of me losing my ass and people letting me know that I'm losing, their money as well. So yeah, dude. Yeah, no. I short-term lurker, and so I'm happy to kind of hop on now and hopefully be halfway entertaining or halfway interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, it was crazy to have met you the other night. Given the circumstances of things, that was very funny. But yeah,
dude, I didn't know I was putting my head into some lover's quarrel, but I swear this isn't some like weird Irish conspiracy going on here.
But yeah, it is crazy. I didn't know you were Irish and ginger. That adds because for everyone watching, we are meeting each other on video for the first time as well. Similar to,
it's where it's most, I think it's where most Irish people meet, is a dive bar. That's the true. One commonality.
And
alcohol
and drink.
That's right. It's like moss to a flame, dude. So I think I was destined to end up here one way or the other.
Yeah, Tao, I hope that explains who he is, as well as, aside from Pick Six Capital, you also work in the Bitcoin sphere, the Bitcoin world. I don't know if you want to divulge any of that, but
no, it's all cool. I'm on camera. Like I've got no sensitivity. Yeah, I'm also the my day job, CFO at BTC Inc., Bitcoin Magazine, Bitcoin Conference, all that fun stuff. And I say CFO, but I kind of always joke and just kind of like the main like spreadsheet janitor. That's a lot of kind of like what I do. But
you clean up the financial messes.
I do, exactly.
Make
yeah,
sure
yeah.
that the debits equal the credits.
Dude, that's pretty much what it is. A CFO is just a guy or gal that's put to have matched the debits and credits over a long period of time, and then they just kind of put you in a new seat. So that's kind of what I've done. But I've worked the conference. I've actually met a few people. Actually met Mars checking his wristband walking to the conference. So it's funny. I've had the most random interactions with like Bitcoiners, like from Spaces or whatever, just like working the conference. So yeah, dude. So yeah, like I'm always like heads down in what's going on with the Bitcoin space. And of course, maybe a good segue is this whole Bitcoin treasury company, like just complete rocket ship. And it's funny. Obviously, Dylan had worked at Bitcoin Magazine for a while, And he asked me about Bitcoin treasury, like just like treasurers and people like finance people, if they'd ever adopt like Bitcoin, my general thoughts. This was like maybe 2 years ago. It was pre-Meta Planet. And I was such a bear in terms of like, I know these people, I know like these corporate treasure. They're the most like boring, risk averse people on the planet. And so corporate Bitcoin adoption, I thought was like a, like, of
People aren't
an
gonna
event.
want it.
Oh yeah, dude. I knew it was an eventuality, but not like this soon. I thought it was like a 2030 thing because these people, these treasurers, it's not about like making money. You're not a treasurer to make, you just can't lose money. And like volatility is like the most terrifying word. I mean, you joked like volatility is vitality. I mean, you talk to like your average stodgy
It's
corporate
wrong. That's
treasurer.
not
Oh,
the.
dude. No,
They
yeah, like
avoid volatility.
oh yeah, in the
Volatility is how
idea,
people start asking for their money back, which is
correct,
not what you
exactly.
want. You want to
No,
keep
no.
people's money.
Yeah, and the sales pitch of like, well, you're losing money via inflation. They don't care. They know that. That's just like an understood fact of life. It's like, like water is wet. They just know it. So they're not being measured because they're not beating inflation so much. So anyways, I just bring that up because it's just crazy that it's
Oh,
taken off this much. In my blind spot, we didn't realize is that kind of mean you can kind of like just do things. I didn't realize Bitcoiners would kind of like just say, well, screw it, we'll just go do it ourselves. Like I thought we had to wait for the old guard to eventually just figure this shit out, but it's really been, Bitcoiners just kind of like acquiring public companies, just taking this over and just running with it. And so
and
that's what's
getting
kind of been crazy to
jobs
see.
and taking over the strategies and yeah.
Dude, I mean, like, I know the jobs numbers were bad, and I think I've seen maybe Stephen Lupka, somebody was posted, and it's like totally true. It's like the ultimate jobs program right now. Like all the employment is being stood up by Bitcoin treasury companies and like influencers and stuff, like seeding these like IR jobs at these places. But anyways, none of this would have happened without Saylor. He had to really kind of like be the first guy through the door who kind of usually gets shot, but he's been able to weather the storm. And yeah, dude, he's kind of the one that everyone's just sort of emulating in their own different way and flavor. And I know SMLR was probably the second one
They
through the
were
door.
the second U.S. company, which yeah, kind of
That's
gets to why we watch the call. I'm also an owner of SMLR, obviously, and all that, but yeah, the
nice.
to go to the call, I don't know if you were listening to all of it or anything,
I
but
heard bits and pieces. Because I only had you on, I only heard you, so I couldn't hear the call.
you didn't
Only
have
your
the stream
reaction,
up. You didn't have the stream
which
up. Yeah, fuck.
yeah. So I was like,
I
oh,
should have told you
like,
pull the stream up.
well,
My
no. Now
bad,
I'm like
my bad.
super intrigued because you were. I was like, oh man, something is not going well. I was like, did they sell the Bitcoin? Did they get hacked? I don't know. I'm
No,
sure it
it
wasn't
was
that bad.
so they released a store. They also kind of hinted at
Merch
I
store.
mean, yeah, they opened a merch store and then obviously they released a forward guidance for the end of this year. They're going to have 10,000 coins, 42,000 coins by the end of 2026, and then 105, excuse me, by the end of 2027, which is quite a leap to make, especially considering they're not even on pace to hit 10,000 this year, which is why, them obviously sorry, I'm like playing poker at the same time. I have to at this
No,
point.
you're
But
good.
the way, either way, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
Their forward guidance and
Yes, the forward guidance, basically the only way they hit it is by the business blowing up. Excuse me, that was my main point. So obviously they issued Cardiovanta. It's a new SaaS company that they wholly own underneath them, and they're planning to expand that, and then there'll be a dual-pronged narrative is kind of the thing. They're also issuing preferred stocks this September, which is also big. And then
that's good.
yeah, Metaplanet and SMLR are the first ones coming with the preferreds aside from strategy. And Dylan actually was recently saying that now that Sailor's pivoted from the converts to the preferreds, that now the race is for all these companies to get into the preferred market with how big it is, and the converts because of the arbitragers, and the market's just not that big. You get enslaved by the arbitragers. They just short the fuck out of you. It's completely different in the preferreds. Obviously, it's a different asset, different investor base, the whole thing, and then you can just hit the ATM on the preferred, and then you're not hitting the common, which SMLR really can't hit the common right now. Like, how the fuck are they going to get to 10,000 has been the thing.
Yeah. I've always wondered how some of these folks do these forward guidance, like these Bitcoin treasury companies do forward guidance, just because like you think about all the variables to try to do. I mean, the price of Bitcoin being like the biggest one is like in terms of extrapolating what you think that will be. But
that's what makes it kind of crazy that they were willing to say 105,000, which makes me think, because they have this pending FDA approval for heart disease. Like that, that tells me that them making the Cardiovanta, they must expect later this year that's getting approved by the FDA, and that the SAS.
You said 105 by end of 2027,
and they have 5,000 barely right now.
I know, that's what I was just looking at.
That's what I'm saying. So that's a 20x from here in a year, in 2.5 years, less than 2.5 years at this point.
Yeah.
Which is that's why I'm a holder. If they can start hitting these numbers and really getting the business to a higher MNAV, but mainly what I was upset with at the end there was Joe Burnett. He's been tweeting about this shit too. He's basically taking shots at Metaplanet and not really Metaplanet, more so like the small cap foreign companies that like David Bailey and Adam are backing, obviously. Because he was basically saying, you know, these small ass companies with no Bitcoin trading at like an 8 MNAV, like they're getting rich early, but how's that going to benefit them? Whereas SMLR's been beaten to the ground, they're already at a 1 MNAV and they're slowly climbing, and just saying that's long term, which I agree with. The main thing I was crying about is just I've got SMLR December call options. And he's basically just saying it's going to be a slow burn. We're going to dilute the fuck out of you in the interim is how I read that.
Yeah, but it's weird because it sounds like that a little bit, slow burn, but then I don't know, their forward guidance doesn't feel like
really,
it, you know what I'm saying?
It's going to like, it's like it's going to be a slow burn the rest of this year, but then it sounds like they expect some rocket ship, which is also what I don't understand, bro. You go
if they're launching products, maybe I don't know if they're going to try to use some of the operating cash flow to help accelerate that. But I mean, normally you can only have so much margin on your operating business you're not going to 100,000.
If you go off the 4-year cycle, 2027 is like the end of the next bear market. It's not it's not peak bull, but that's what's weird though is, if you go listen to recent Saylor interviews, especially like the one he just did with Joe Burnett, he literally, the first question Joe asks him, what would you do if you're the director of strategy at SMLR? And then he literally says he would issue a 3-year forward guidance and all this shit. And you know what's funny? Metaplanet issued a forward guidance for 2020, a 3-year plan. SMLR issued a 3-year plan. And basically the strategy plan is around that same time. These fuckers must know something that we don't. It makes no sense. How, if the peak is this year and we go down, how does the end of 2020, even if Bitcoin goes up a lot, how are you stacking that much? It makes no sense. Because as Bitcoin goes up, how do you stack at scale like that? So that's what leads me to believe these fuckers know something about like a strategic reserve or something that we don't.
No, it's weird. I don't know how they do forward guidance without, I'm sure obviously they all have very good lawyers and tell them what they can and can't say. I did hear the end of Joe Burnett's thing. He was definitely reading a script from a lawyer. So
and that shit sucks, dude. The end, that's what I don't like about Joe, bro. I love how he's got that young man driven, right? But
got that Dylan Leclerc.
but
the
Dylan
young
talks
king.
off the cuff because he studies and knows, bro. If you study and you know, you can just do. Like, I get that it's the Q&A, but go watch the MicroStrategy earnings. We just watched it last Friday. That was the last show. We watched the live. Sailor was listening to the questions live. Whereas this was clearly Joe had gotten the questions and written up the answers before.
Yeah, prep.
Whereas Sailor was just there and just bang. And he's like, you guys want to get in on this and answer as well? Because you know I will. It's like, that's what you want. Like, that's the difference.
I mean, it's so much a investor confidence game, and like those sometimes seem like small things, but people notice them. Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah.
Especially if you're issuing these grandiose forward guidance and like slowly leading on that the business is gonna pop off, which that's the only hope right now. They get the preferreds.
What is their?
Yeah.
Sorry, what is their medical business again? I'm asking the right person. I need more data.
It's a medical device company.
Is it software?
No, medical device
Device.
It's for peripheral artery disease pre-screening, so that way early detection. And then they have a pending FDA approval for QuantaFlow on heart disease, and then they opened up the SaaS company to presumably have other options at other products to make more money. And I guess the thesis is that because of Bitcoin, they were in, like, previously they had this cash pile, but it was like being disrespected, and when they're looking at acquisitions, they're not getting good deals. Whereas now, theoretically, now that they've got all this Bitcoin and they're a bigger company, now maybe they can get more favorable acquisitions, more cash flow positive companies that actually have provable cash flow. That could be a thing they're looking at. But what a bold day, shithousery. Sorry. That's also why you keep the stream. If you want, only have the Twitter stream up muted. That way you can just look at the chat, and then sometimes we just gotta comment to the chat, content bullshit.
Yeah. I know Old Bay is another person I follow. I lurk.
Wow.
He's absolutely hilarious.
You gotta be careful with that guy.
Well, yeah, look, he's funny. The funny ones are normally the ones you gotta be careful with, but highly entertaining.
Some days he loves me, some days that guy's coming at my neck, but
right. The one thing I'll say on that, like the medical business, and I've heard people discuss this. So like, is it a negative thing to have to invest in a Bitcoin treasury company that has an underlying operating business? And it's kind of like two schools of thought a little bit, because one school of thought is like, well, why would you have an operating business? Nothing, you'll never outperform Bitcoin. There's no business on the world that can do that. And then, the other is that, well, like, also, like, how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you also, when times are not good, it's nice to have some non-endemic pieces you can lean into. Correct. Yeah. And so I think, I don't know, if you ask me, I would err as an investor. I'd be more inclined to be interested in Bitcoin treasury company that has an operating business. It actually creates value, because most people can.
Otherwise, how are you justifying any premium when price action is going against you?
Yeah. And how do you differentiate yourself? Yeah. How from anyone else can just do financial, like, alchemy. Like, anybody can go and buy. Now, some people can do it more effectively with scale, things like that.
Especially if they're bigger, they have more access to capital markets, etc. But still, look at Sailor, look at MicroStrategy last bear market. There were not that many dots through the bear market. They were just they literally were laying off the underlying business. Is what the bear market looked like. They were laying people off and then bringing on a couple people to the strategy to trade and make the Bitcoin treasury company become what it is now, which that's where I think strategies in a league of their own, right? Like, their underlying business at this point's irrelevant. But for all these other players, especially the small players, they need to be making money, or at the very least, the underlying business needs to not be losing money. And that's kind of the... If that's the case, then you're kind of okay, I think, going forward.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you really fast forward in the future, I mean, these won't be Bitcoin. They'll just be companies that have some degree of allocation against Bitcoin as part of their treasury strategy, like whatever their portfolio is. So it's like these are just kind of like these initial adopters that are probably going to get a good head start. But yeah, you got to have some underlying value prop and deliver something useful to the world beyond just, like I said, just financial kind of engineering, because nobody's going to do that better than Sailor, right? So if that's all you're bringing to the table, why would I choose that over strategy? Yeah.
And then if you go listen to Joe Burnett read a script, or go listen to the Sailor series where he's talking human history and shit, I mean, you're going to choose Sailor every fucking day of the week. But
yeah, he's got the battle scars too, and I think people put a lot of weight on that too, and that's why all these new entrants, there's a little bit more skittishness, rightfully so, because you don't know who these people are.
I mean, if you really look at it, bro, honestly, I can't believe are you familiar with the True North guys, the MSTR True North guys?
A little bit. I know of them. I haven't listened to any of their stuff.
What I'm disappointed in seeing is these guys go from being MSTR bulls and just grinders that were getting rich off options to now these guys are taking jobs at these companies. And I think that they're missing the big picture here. Like, obviously, if you got invited to go do it at MetaPlanet or SMLR, where those companies have the blessing from the Dawn, from Sailor, then that's a little different. But some of these other companies, these dudes are going to ruin their reputation, because these companies are going to straight up fail. And now you're the director of strategy. You're the Bitcoin director for a shitty company when you used to have credibility talking about MicroStrategy. And that's going to be like that one young guy, the kid analyst. He just took a job with one of the, what's his name?
Clemente?
No, not Will. Will already sold out with Pompliano before. It's Mason. Mason is his name. Mason Ford. Now he's the director of Bitcoin strategy at Milius. It's a Brazilian Bitcoin treasury. That's all you need to know. Good luck with that shit.
Yeah. Well, I feel like anything, you got to start at some point. But there's always risk.
But I think the move of just like Raekwon's playing it right. The guy's not taking one of these shitty jobs. He's just doing consulting and then continuing his thing. Or Dan Hillary. He's making a private hedge fund, using the fact all these people saw him ball out on MicroStrategy. He's developing stuff. Now he's getting money behind his shit. He's not selling out to... I mean, who knows? Maybe this will be the biggest Brazilian company that's ever existed. You never know, really. But it's just...
I hear your point. There is some professional risk there. And, like, while I like to think... I don't know what these roles do specifically. I don't know what that job description looks like. At the end of the day, if it goes bad, it's probably they're going to look at, like, hey, if something went wrong with the Bitcoin, who is the one charged making the decisions about it? And for whatever, right or wrong, you might get kind of lambasted.
Not to mention that they built the clout, and all the people that are going to be buying those companies are their supporters from the stream.
Yeah.
So if they lose those dudes' money, all those dudes are going to hate their fucking guts and say, fuck you.
They're going to spin up streams like this and rip them during their earnings calls. That's what's going to happen. There's just an army of people just blowing them up. Yeah,
Joe Burnett is not a fan of me. I can guarantee that.
I can guarantee he reads your tweets.
Yep, he does.
I can't guarantee it, but
I know.
I'm a gambler. I'd bet on it.
He used to like my tweets until I started trashing his ass. So that's how I know he reads them. No. Okay, Eric Semler still follows me, but that Nick Coletta guy, the kid they just brought on as treasurer, he was following me. And then I tweeted about how I've never hated being an investor of anything until I owned SMLR. He unfollowed me. But none of them have blocked me, though. I think they know that if they block me, that would be worse. Like, that's a sign of weakness. You can't block me. I'm clearly one of the most passionate investors they've got.
That's right. Yeah. They should be leaning into that more. Yeah. Just hit you up. Ask for some more general feedback.
I mean, SMLR said he'll come on the
dude, you know what they need to do? If they open a merch store, that's the play. They need to start getting you some SMLR merch.
They did just open the merch store, but where's them asking for my address to wear it on the show?
Yeah, there you go. I'm looking it up now.
I might have to actually email Eric about that. Say, yo, can we get some shirts sent over? We're doing it's not just a space anymore. We got a live stream.
It's a movement.
Instead of Big Dog, we got SMLR. Come on. But
it's not that bad. I'm looking at.
We're getting a lot of positive feedback about you coming on the show, actually, as well, D. This is great, man.
Oh, cool. Well, just like in the spirit of that, I actually have to hop here in 2 minutes for another call here, but
that's fine. 2:30.
I'm glad people can generally tolerate. Yeah, people can generally tolerate two gingers.
Yep. And you'll drop. I'll bring us home. Give my ultimate breakdown of the earnings, and then we'll go on to the next show, man. This is great, though. And I love the backdrop, dude.
I know. See, I do. I pay $9.99 for that. That's me investing.
You invested into the show.
Well, I need a nitro, which I didn't know what that was, and then it took me through some prompts, and this is one of those things where I'm looking at my credit card statement, and I'm like, what the F is this $9.99? And dude, worth every penny though. Looks like I'm gonna
I
dive
actually
bar.
need to get nitro too, because then we can get the video at 1080p.
Do you have a soundboard?
I don't have a soundboard. No.
Dude, nitro, man.
Nitro
Here, check
comes
this
with
out.
the soundboard.
I'll probably have too much fun with that.
I don't know how often we're gonna need those, but yeah, I do like the idea of having 1080p, and I need to adjust the settings on OBS to go 1080 too. I just am lazy as fuck. I don't know why. We've been dealing with some. I mean, I'm currently in the midst of moving out. I got I'm moving. I got all sorts of shit going on at the moment.
Yeah, all good, man. I mean, it doesn't have to be, like I said, this is fine. This works.
Yeah, right now we just have you and I's face on the screen.
Oh.
It's going just fine.
By the way, if it looks like I'm just like, it's because I've got multiple monitors. My camera's right here, but I'm looking here because this screen's too small. So just to give you a little bit of sense of what's actually going on in the real world, not my virtual dive bar here.
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're working.
Yeah.
Man. All right,
I am, dude.
You got to drop.
Yeah, I gotta hop on a call here, but are you doing a 10 o'clock still?
We'll see. We'll see. You available
just whatever.
for that tonight or what?
Yeah, I'll hop on. Like I said, those are my quiet working hours. So yeah, depending on how slammed I am,
we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to at least get the earnings in, and then we'll see tonight how drunk I am or whatever.
I would say I am a drinker, but Monday is not. That's not usually when I'm getting into the bottles there. So I may
Friday night we'll get a couple glasses flowing.
Friday night, and I don't drink beer either. So you're on your own on Coors Light. So I only drink liquor. So that's also mine.
You on the rocks kind of guy or?
On the rocks, just bourbon on the rocks. Very simple.
This guy's rich, man. That's how you know this guy's rich.
Nah, dude. Well, you haven't told you what kind of bourbon it is, so we'll see. That'll be a surprise then for Friday.
All right, D. Fuck yeah,
cool, buddy.
Amazing day,
all right, man.
Bro. Fuck yes.
Yeah, appreciate it, and looking forward to hearing this full recap on SMLR since I missed it, but I did enjoy just seeing it through your emotion.
I can't believe you were just listening to me
during
all that shit. All right,
nice.
bro.
All right,
Have
man.
a good meeting,
Catch
and
that.
then I'll DM you if we'll go live tonight or whatnot. But, dude, great fucking
Cool.
show.
I'll be around.
Glad
Yeah,
you're
buddy.
also an Irishman, dude. Let's go. Let's ride.
Hey, man. We got to look after each other. All right,
Oh,
man.
yeah, bro.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Well, all right, folks. What an amazing debut. There may or may not be a fat Indian guy extremely upset right now. We do not give a flying fuck. The dive bar continues on. Whether people are willing to give up saying the N-word or not, it is what it is, man. I know there's we'll just address this once. That's all I'm going to do. Be Scarce was a good friend of mine. I thought so. And I wanted to do this show with him, and I really enjoyed the fun we had. I enjoyed our private calls. I enjoyed all of it. And the fact of the matter is, there's just something he's not willing to give up doing, which is saying the N-word with a hard R. And I can't have that associated with the show, whether you guys care or not. And we're not trying to make money here, man. Just simply is that I don't want to deal with the shit getting banned, and I don't want to deal with people that are able to clip things and try to ruin our lives in any sense of the way. So it's really simple. I had multiple private conversations with him, told him, I need you to stop. He said, I promise you I will. He didn't. So there you go. That's it. And that's the last time I'm going to address it. I still like Be Scarce. He may or may not like me. He's clearly disparaging my name publicly at the moment, but it's irrelevant to me. And that's where we stand with that. And as far as the SMLR... Sorry, I got to play this hand, guys. But as far as the SMLR earnings call is concerned... It was a solid earnings call. Merch store released. That's positive. Joe Burnett needs to stop reading from a script. It is way too obvious. And he needs to become a better public speaker. We can bring him on the dive bar and help him out in that respect. Can't read from a script on here. But either way, I enjoyed it. Renee Cormier always dishing the bad news. I don't know why they make her do it. Is what it is. Eric, I liked his segment. I liked Joe's first segment. The end segment about the slow burn, that's going to fuck my December calls. Which obviously that's not on him, that's on me. So it is what it is. Ultimately, I think it was constructive. Best earnings call by far that they've had. Just for perspective, last year, I would tune into a call. You had to literally toll-free number call in, and it would be a 15-minute long call that gets hung up. So we've gone from that to a live stream. So that's a W. They're embracing Bitcoin Treasury. Obviously, this is clearly now a Bitcoin Treasury company. Bitcoin merch store. This is all good. This is all good. But the fact of the matter is, a little disappointed that the rest of this year is going to be slow growth and dilution. And they did not really say how they're going to hit a 105. That's the only other part of this that sucks, right? All that we can believe right now is that they're going to continue to try to stack by diluting us, and then the FDA approval coming, SaaS company shit, which they said there's going to be numerous products. That was a key thing right there. They said numerous products. They either said multiple or numerous. I'll have to go back and check. But either way, that is good because the QuantaFlo to heart disease, that's one. But if they've got all these other things in the works, then that is the dual prong narrative, right? That's that dual prong. So hopefully that's where we're headed. And yep, great debut from D, man. Better than I ever could have thought. Andy's Irish. Bitcoin Dive Bar has never been in a better position. I am extremely excited for the future of this show. I really am publicly asking that everyone that enjoys Be Scarce and I do not pick sides. Join the new Discord. You can be in the other Discord. It's irrelevant. And everyone is still welcome on the show. I don't want anyone to think that anything has changed. Nothing has really changed. So, really do appreciate it. And I'm going to host a space after this, and then I guess we'll figure out if we'll go live later tonight. I wasn't planning on it, but we'll figure it out. So, that was a great earnings call. Shout out Joe Burnett, Eric Semler, Natalie Brunel, Renee Cormier. Shout out D for joining me. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.
Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Yeah. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Yeah. Bought a bust down, now I'm finna bust her up. Yeah.